60 years in a Texas prison. That was the punishment assessed this week to former Houston Police Detective Gerald Goins, who was found guilty of murder in connection to the deadly 2019 drug raid on Harding Street. The crime, which included lying to a judge to obtain a search warrant, cost two innocent people, Regina Nichols and Dennis Tuttle, their lives. Goins will pay for the wrongdoing with the remainder of his, closing perhaps the most disgraceful chapter in the department's history.
We know that he was allowed to investigate and enforce drug laws almost with no supervision for decades. That's wrong. We need some policy changes at HPD to correct that and clean up that narcotics division.
I'm about building the public's confidence in HPD. We have an outstanding police chief that spent years in Texas Rangers on public integrity.
Panel, I think rebuilding trust will take time, lots of effort, and zero tolerance for any type of abuse. Gary, you work in the criminal justice system. Agree?
Yes, but the first thing I want to say is that Goins is like the worst of the worst. And there are a lot of fine men and women who are in our police department that are honest and hardworking and candid. And I deal with these officers all the time. So I don't want them to be painted with the Goins brush. That being said, Goins was allowed to get away with all this stuff for a long time under old leadership at HPD, and that was flat wrong. And he ended up getting what he deserved. And a jury has spoken, and I think it sends a message to everyone in our community. They're not going to put up with this kind of high-level police misconduct without giving you a whole lot of time to do in prison.
Sergio, are you optimistic?
Yeah, somewhat. This is the, this historical verdict here in the city of Houston is just amazing to have an actual police officer, serving prison time for murder. Or not murder, tampering with documents that led to a murder. However, Goins is the epitome of the corrupt police officer. Keep in mind that most police officers are hardworking, good. But if you work in a large urban city, after a while you become hardened. After a while you just ignore bad behavior and you're working towards your pension. But most police officers are good. This is the epitome. Now, are they going to clean up the corruption? This is a systemic problem. And I agree with Kemal. You have to change policy. If I know that my friend here is doing bad stuff and I don't say anything, then I should be held accountable. If not, I'm going to rat on him. But however, I got to change the policy that I get immunity to protect myself. And therefore, we can clean up this corruption. But if you don't change the policy, the system continues to fester this type of behavior.
Nyan, so this was like Training Day, Bayou City version,
yes,
right?
But he's no Denzel. So when you have Officer Goins, and I have a personal perspective on this because I have a friend who was convicted for a drug crime, and Goins was the detective. And because the person was convicted 3 years ago, she received a letter from the Harris County District Attorney's Office saying that they were investigating the officer who compiled the evidence against her and that they would let her know if there was going to be anything done regarding her conviction. Well, she served her sentence and then she was released, but she shares the letter with me and says, what happens now? I said, well, he's in Houston right now being convicted. And I said, and he gets 60 years. But what happens to all the corruption that he was able to get away with? Because those people spent their lives in prison based on what he did. So I really hope that we can clean up the system, but the blue wall of silence is still there.
Absolutely.
20 seconds.
Yeah, I think it's important that they do change the policy. Let's not forget we had those 264,000 incidents that were suspended under the previous administration and the previous leadership. And there do need to be changes. Again, there's some great police officers in Houston Police Department. You've got to root out the bad.
I agree completely.